trees here are basically twigs I found when I'm walking the dog in the afternoon and in the morning. They're, if you look at twigs closely, particularly the heather that we have here locally, you can find some twigs along the paths, particularly the ones that are broken off or old, and they quite look like heather tends to look like trees when you look at it up close. So I've been experimenting with some twigs, adding some foliage. I have to see whether they remain, they don't dry up or crumble or whatever, they're being a live product. On the trees that I showed on the vlog just now, on vlog 14, as I said, I'm using twigs that I found whilst walking our dog in around the parks, and particularly we have some heaths with a lot of heather on them around the town, and we often walk the dog there. And whilst walking the dog, I noticed on the paths broken off twigs that they seemed to look like trees, and so I had another closer look and started picking up a few along the path, and particularly these broken off older ones, they do tend to look like trees. And I'll get this light a bit better and see if you can see that. Yeah. So they look like very old trees, and yet they're quite small. So add some foliage to them and stick them on the layout, and very interesting shapes. A tree. Put some foliage on it. So that's the tree thing I'm trying out at the moment. Just picking up these twigs along the way. No, they're not bad. In a previous vlog I was talking about stay alive function, for instance for lighting and passenger coaches, and here is the full set of coaches. Got one more to do, but I'll have a brief update on how I connect the coaches together so that you only have one keep alive circuit, which is in there. Just a quick show and tell on coach lighting. These coaches that I've purchased recently, I got 5 of them off of the internet, and they're Limas, which is not top of the line, but they're good enough for my budget. So you need to do a few modifications to them, and one of the first things I do is add some weight. The single weight that they have attached is, in my opinion, not quite enough. So I got some old coins for a pre-Euro era, which are not worth anything anymore these days, and I add a coin over each bogey, which just gives it a little bit more feel to it, slightly less jumpy. Particularly very light coaches when traveling on track can sort of vibrate very quickly and doesn't look realistic, and a little bit of extra weight just keeps the vibrations just down a little bit. That's what I do with most of my coaches. So, another thing I do with these coaches is change the couplings for a couple of reasons. The standard coupling that comes with these coaches is okay. I can just undo the bogey here. There we go. The standard coupling with these bogies is okay, but it's a little bit too far apart on these coaches when it's in place and there's a coupling on from the other coach, and the coaches are a little bit too far apart. It doesn't quite look realistic. So I cut this coupling off and turn the bogey around, as you can see on this one, I added fitting for the so-called NEM, the norm for model railways coupling system. You can get packs of them very cheap off of internet. Just get packs of coupling sections and use them. Basically, they're made up of a holder. It's got a couple of holes in it and a holder section which you can then either stick onto the bogie, truck as the Americans call it, stick it on to whatever level you want, and then you can, on this pin, you can attach then the actual NEM, shaft, which has a particular hole in it. Might be able to see it there. And that accepts then all sorts of standard couplings. You can get couplings from nearly all manufacturers with the NEM 2-pin connector unit on it, which goes into the shaft. And you can get KDs. You can get these are the standard hook and stirrup or hook and buckle that are used on most of the mainland for most of the major manufacturers. You can also get UK type ones with the NEM shaft on it. And what you can also get are these fixed coupling units to keep the carriages close together. So there needs to be a little bit of flex in here, and you can see there's a little bit of flex in there for the so then you fit the NEM unit on there, and then you can attach a coupling unit. You can attach the coupling unit, it just goes in, or you can attach one of these fixed coupling sections. Attach that in there, and then you can attach the other end to a bogie from the other coach. In general, your passenger trains, the coaches will not usually be uncoupled very much. They'll remain as a unit most of the time. So there's really no need to have a full set of couplings on the coaches. So I add these fixed couplers, which keeps the coaches together. But then, of course, when you're handling the set of coaches, you need to pick them all up together, as it were. But putting them together also allows me then to the wiring from the LED strips. I can then put through the holes between the carriages, and I have very tiny wires and very tiny coupling sections, the integrated circuit type. Here's a finished coach. This is the one that has the keep alive circuit in it. So the keep alive circuit is here, just a capacitor and some resistors. Pickup is underneath, and here are the LEDs mounted to the roof section. So that fits in. At the other end, is a connector to the next coaches. It's a little micro connector you typically find in computers. And between the coaches is a little connector set like this, so that the coaches can be separated. The connector just fits onto the socket side on this coach and onto the socket side of the next coach, and then those little wires, and then all we'll have is a couple of little wires like that between the two coaches, and you can hardly see them when the coach is running. And if you look very closely, you might see a couple of wires between the coaches, because the coaches are all connected up together now so that you only need one pickup off the rails and one keep alive circuit.